I know this is not the typical content I have of late, but I really got started on this app yapping about Love Island, especially season 7. Um, but I've kind of tried to stay away from the discourse because one is very toxic, and two, the season 7 cast in general has been very, very toxic in general and like not likable. And three, I just think that these people should be allowed to live like normal lives. I also, as a fan of Nick and Nalandria and Nicolandria, I also find the way that their fandom fixates on their every move and talks about their every single move to be disturbing and off-putting and reflective of how few boundaries people have in this hyper parasocial society, which probably is a video essay for another week, girl. But Miss Sierra, girl, what were you doing this weekend there? Hmm? What was happening, girly pop? Guys, what in the Swimfan Gone Girl hell was this woman doing at the Agua de Kiefer holiday party or Halloween party? What were you doing there, girl? What are you there for? What was the reason, bitch? What was the reason? But the thing is, in my heart and soul, I know the reason. This girl has been an influencer for her whole life. She says she has a company that like manages content creators and whatever. Like, this girl understands the attention economy. Her views were probably dropping. They weren't doing the things that she needed to do. So what she did was do something outrageous in order to get us to have eyes on her again. And I'm happily playing into it, okay? Happily playing into it by putting my eyes on her again. Because this is crazy behavior, okay? Listen, obviously, as we know, Cierra got kicked out of the villa due to a racist post resurfacing, where she was using an offensive term for Chinese people. And then subsequently, Nick and Andrew became like the biggest, like the most famous people to come out of like Love Island, like literally to date. So I understand that she feels as if her destiny was stolen. But the thing is, Sierra and Nick would have never been popular like this together. It would have always been like Alandria was always a star. Alandria was always a star, okay? Because nobody looks like that girl. She's just too fine. She just too fine, okay? I also heard that this girl was dancing with Nick in the background and trying to capture on her phone to the song when it was playing. Don't you wish your girlfriend was hot like me? Now, Sierra, why set yourself up for that? You are a beautiful girl. You are a gorgeous, gorgeous girl. Why set yourself up in that manner? Why? Why? But truly, I am a person who thinks a lot about people's like mental health and mental wellness, and I could not imagine the anguish Sierra was probably experiencing after being kicked off Love Island and undergoing the immense online hate that has been directed her way. I find it to be like generations are cyclical, right? And I've mentioned that I'm like, I'm like I don't like the term elder millennial, but I'm solidly a millennial, okay? And we went through these cycles in pop culture where we were incredibly cruel to people. And we tore up Paris Hilton and Britney Spears and Lindsay Lohan and Amy Winehouse. We were vicious in the press, vicious when we talked about them. Paparazzi were totally vicious. And then, girl, what happened is that we started catching bodies, girl. We started catching bodies, okay? Paris Hilton went to jail. Lindsay Lohan ended up like leaving the country for a really long time. Britney Spears ended up in conservatorship, and Amy Winehouse ended up dead. Yeah. And because of that, our culture stopped treating women or public figures as fodder to be consumed, right? And bullied endlessly and dehumanizing them, right? And I think we even had a cultural reckoning around about that around the Free Britney movement. Because it was sort of a retrospective on the way that the media had treated her, and a lot of us thought about how badly they did. As a person who's always been empathetic and interested in human psychology, I always knew that what people were doing to Britney Spears was horrific. But I'm glad that culture decided to wake up. Editing me, I am not implying that the 10, what I'm talking about is like the late 2010s, early 20s before Gen Z came on the internet, basically. We were not perfect. There was still mean stuff going on the internet. But I really felt that in general, there was a level of civility that has been totally lost right now. But right now, empathy's dead. Right now, empathy's dead. Okay, empathy's dead. It's dead in favor of hot takes, tribalism, sycophantic behavior, bullying, clicks, likes. Like, that's what is in favor for. And these social media algorithms, as a new content creator, I realize do incentivize that behavior, girl. It is incentivized, okay? Nobody knows it better than this girl right here because she has a whole business of it. She's made a whole business of being a social media influencer. And I can imagine from a psychological standpoint, the grief and shame and lost opportunities that she must be feeling over what happened to her at Love Island must be immense. I think she probably really does feel that she deserves to be in these spaces. And, one could argue that maybe she does deserve it because other, cast members, there's like some things, unsavory things that have come up about them too. I have another hot take about that I don't know if y'all are going to like. But the thing is, my thing about Gen Z is I actually feel really sorry for them having their entire life captured by the internet, okay? Because, like, the thing with us millennials, we got to be horrible and homophobic and racist and do all those things, but it wasn't captured on the internet, on Twitter. Okay, to be dug up later. And I think I really think that is why Gen Z polices each other so much. And it's why they have so much anxiety. And it's why they've actually trended more conservative because of the fact that they have not allowed themselves the space to make mistakes and just be like human. And people are going to be like, oh my God, racism is not a mistake. I get it. I hear you. Racism is not a mistake. How dare you say that? I heard you. Thank you. But when we are young, we are products of our environment, okay? If you are indoctrinated, when you are in a home and you have parents who hold views that are racist, okay? It is very difficult. It is very difficult not to adopt those views yourself. It is because of the psychological safety, right? The psychological safety of remaining part of the unit means that you're not going to question the ideals of the unit. And when a child is growing up, their parents are basically God. Over time in adulthood, you start to gain your own ideas, your own sense of independence, and that is when your views may mature, okay? So this idea that, like, if someone was 13 or 16 or whatever and saying bad things online, I think is a little bit crazy because the truth is, at that age, it's not really their fault. It's their parents' fault. It's what they were raised as, girl. And I've always felt that way. So this is a long tangent about Cierra, girl. My thing is that I assume that she is under a lot of psychological duress. And I do think that she is desperate to cling on to the last 30 seconds of her 15 minutes of fame because that got cut short. And this was a desperate, controversial, but ultimately effective way to do that. I mean, I haven't seen this girl in my For You page at all for the past maybe month or two. And I certainly have seen her today. So you guys just have to remember, we live in an attention economy, girl. They are baiting us for our likes and clicks and discussion. And all engagement is engagement. All engagement is engagement. If you watch any video for more than 1 minute, it counts towards the profit that creator makes. If you post a comment, negative or positive, it counts towards engagement that pushes people forward in the algorithm, okay? So if you really don't want someone to be around and you want someone not to have a platform, the best thing to do is ignore them, okay? Because that's the best thing to do for your own peace of mind too, okay? And let this be a lesson. Cierra, it's giving Swimfan. I'm praying for you. Get well soon. The desperation is wild, but yeah. Anyway, all right. You gotta hand it to the girl. At least she's entertaining. Give these bitches something to talk about, girl. Wake it up. Give them something to say, okay? And she did. But I really hope that she is being seen by a licensed mental health professional, okay? Prayers up to Cierra. And that's it. Bye-bye.